So I had some trouble. I'm still having some trouble, kind of, um, figuring out like a proper way to weigh yourself when you wake up, um, and have and knowing what's like the correct standard way of being prepared to weigh yourself. Uh, this just include weights already. I'm also talking about measuring your body fat level as well. So, what have I tried? I've tried like 8 hours, 10-hour fasts, 12-hour fasts. Not to say that I didn't get consistent or relatively or results that are close to each other. I just, in theory, I'm not exactly okay with the methods. The reason I do 10-hour fasts is because, from my knowledge, is that food that you eat takes about 10 hours to get to your large intestines, and food is pretty much inside of you, outside of your meaning absorbed. Once it gets to your, like 95% of it gets absorbed by the time it gets to your large intestines. So, I mean, that's not exactly a good reason. It's just one way to be consistent. So if you want to weigh yourself and know what your weight is and track your weight, then track your body fat, then have some kind of consistent way of doing that. And that's one way. I mean, that was just a completely arbitrary way of tracking. So just yesterday I thought, well, instead of having to think too hard about what's inside of me when I wake up, I'm just gonna weigh myself like last meal before bed, like right after or close to it. I still haven't even really thought about it, but most likely right after the meal, just so I can have an idea of how much I would weigh, or that would probably, or very likely be the heaviest I would be that particular day. Right after I ate, right after I'm full, after I've eaten whatever food and drank whatever water, before I hop in bed, hop on the scale, and that should be about the heaviest I would be. And assuming that I have had all my micronutrients for the day, all my macros and my micros and water, even fiber. Fiber's not exactly essential, but let's just say I did. I mean, fiber does add weight to you because of just the way it functions in your body. So that would actually give me an even higher end estimate of my weight during the day. So got a high end estimate, which is after my last meal of the day before bed, and then a low end estimate, which is when I wake up, before I eat or anything like that. And no one's sleeping 12 hours. I mean, it's got to be something in the neighborhood of 6 to 10 hours. But it would, let's just say I wake up 6 hours, then I'm probably gonna weigh a little bit more than if I woke up 8 hours after that last meal. Again, we're assuming that I go right to bed afterwards, after that last meal, after I weigh myself. So meal, weigh yourself, bed. wake up, weigh yourself. 6 hours would be heavier than 8 hours, which would be heavier than 10 hours, just by virtue of water loss. Just may not be a whole lot because you're resting, but it is more. 6 hours is going to be heavier than 8 hours. It's going to be heavier than 10 hours. It's going to be heavier than 12 hours. Okay. And I think that's also a great way to make a comparison between body fat highs and lows as well, because the method that that's feasible, that's easy to use on a daily basis, is your bioimpedance, the cheap little scale that you get from the store. Uses an electrical current, and based off of just really water affects it. We're not gonna get into the technicalities of it, but it just the how much water is in you is going to affect how much water, how much positive and negative things are inside of you. If we're just talking about a significant amount of water that gets lost overnight, I'm just gonna do another video on that body fat, because I have to really think about it. But I do think that this is very important thing to have thought about, is to, in order to have accurate weight tracking, you want highs and lows during the day. Okay, so what did I get? I actually just weighed myself, and it's like 6 something here in Arizona, so Mountain Standard Time, and I was like 157 pounds with very light clothing. And this morning, like around 6:30, again Mountain Standard Time, I weighed myself and I was like 152 pounds. Now this particular scale that I used both times, both this morning and like an hour ago, this scale is like a pound off from another scale that I use, and I'm not too concerned about it. I'm still within like a pound or so of, I think, what is actually correct, what is correct. But just as a comparison here, like I said, I was 152 pounds this morning, and then I had something in the neighborhood of 2,500 calories, like 150 grams of protein, like 80 grams of fat, and then like 300 grams of carbs, or almost 400. I'm not sure, 350 maybe. And like I said, like 2,500 calories and plenty of water. All my micronutrients, all the A, B, C, D, E vitamins, K, all the B vitamins, all the elements. The only thing I'm not getting a whole lot of is fluoride, which is not essential. But it could. There's probably trace amounts of it in the water that I drink. So I've got all my micronutrients. Those are my macronutrients, and 152 pounds this morning. 157 pounds like 12 hours later. So, by the way, that 152 pounds was after like 10 hours of almost no, 12 hours, almost 12 hours of no food, just water. Before that no food period, I had my daily value of my micronutrients, my same thing that I had today, pretty much the same thing. So I'm just very I like to kind of see how this trend moves forward with the how things change. If you have a high and low end, at least I've eliminated the things that change when when you're not eating, or should I say, what changes in your gut, whatever's going, the deposits and withdrawals in your gut, controlling for that. That's the whole point.